Attention! Calling all wine moms. With the amount of wine and coffee I drink, my teeth started to look a little dull and dingy. However, I found the fastest and most affordable solution that makes my pearly white sparkle, and that is Active Well. Active Well has everything you need to maintain a shining smile. Whitening kits, toothpaste, on-the-go pens, and so much more. Use code MOMMYWINES20 at checkout when you try the premium or natural charcoal whitening goodies from Active Well. Available on Amazon, Target, or ActiveWow.com. Make sure to use code MOMMYWINES20. Hey wine moms, and thank you for listening to this MW Network and Emma production. Now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, themommywines.com, and wherever else you get your favorite podcasts. For exclusive content and early access, make sure to tune in on Patreon. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Mommy Wines podcast. I am your host, as always, Emma Dawn, and I am here again. We're just going to continue this episode because we got off on a little bit of a tangent. The story of living in Salt Lake City.
It's interesting.
It's an interesting place, and tons of people are moving here. So hopefully you listen to this and maybe weigh your pros and cons. But we're actually going to be doing, what is this, tarot?
This is tarot.
Tarot card reading. And oh my God, I've always wanted to do this, but I've always been afraid to go to some random place when I was living in Vegas, or, I met some random woman when I was in California, and I was like, I don't know, I don't want to spend money on it, because what if she's a fraud? It's Las Vegas, everybody's a fraud. Or I was like, I don't know, I never did it, but I'm so into this. And when you brought this up, you were like, oh, we should do a tarot card reading on your podcast. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
What is it? Those, America, fuck yeah. That's the song that went in my head when you were like, we should do a reading on your podcast.
We should.
Yeah, we should do it. I'm so into it.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start. And this is the oldest deck that I have. It's the one that I've worked with the most. And we would call this a basic a tarot deck, and it's called the Enchanted Tarot. And there's, hundreds of thousands of different kinds, different styles from different cultures for different reasons. Some of them are based on nature, elements. After we do this, we're going to take your reading and expand it into the Starman Tarot. Okay. And that just comparing and contrasting those two will give you a pretty good idea of the variance of tarot, just the energies that come with it.
There's a couple things I'm curious on.
Yeah.
I've left them to myself.
Okay, go ahead.
No matter how many glasses of wine you pour me, even though I poured this last one myself, I'm not going to spill the beans. I'm super excited to see what they say.
Okay.
And
well, while we're talking, I want you to hold this deck.
That's my favorite color, purple.
Because you're just going to get your energy into it while we're talking about it.
Hold it real tight.
Yeah.
White knuckle that shit.
Yeah. And what we're going to accomplish tonight is we're going to do we're going to pull 3 cards.
Okay.
It's just a really basic reading, and we can expand at different times from there. I like to start with 3 cards because there's so many things that come from 3 cards.
I'm gonna become an addict.
I can
tell you right now.
I love it.
Be like, wait, this is the 3rd one. Come on, Genie. I need 3 more wishes.
All right. So now you've been holding the cards, and we have your energy in them. And so we're going to take these cards, and we're going to just shuffle them just a little here, just to kind of move the energy around. And then we're going to shuffle them into 3 piles. 1, 2, 3. And you can pick however you want to put those stacks back together to make it 1 stack. You can top to bottom, bottom to back.
And while we're doing this, I do have a segment on my podcast called Sip or Spill.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time for the Sip or Spill wine review. Would you? So if you could hand me that bottle of wine. As you listeners may know, I am completely acceptable to signage and logoage, if you could say. And this one has my name on it.
Nice.
So I bought this. It is Long Ridge Vintage 2018, the Emily.
Nice.
Fancy. It's fancy AF.
I like that.
This is a Chardonnay Pinot Noir from South Africa. And I kind of love that it's from South Africa and it has my name on it.
I like it.
That's a place I've always wanted to go.
Yes.
And that's me.
And that's you.
I really love this. And the story behind this is, although British-born, Emily Hobhouse has become an honorary South African through her selfless and courageous actions. Man, this bitch is a beast. Mm-hmm. I love this. That exposed the inhumanity of concentration camps during the Anglo-Boer War. Okay. I love that. She's like a humanitarian.
Yeah.
Making me look good, people.
I like it.
We dedicate this wine in her memory and brave women fighting for what is right all over the world. And that is me. I fight for what is right.
That's right.
I want justice.
That's right.
Okay, I'm going to sip this again. It's not the greatest rosé I've ever tasted.
I like the story behind it.
Yeah, I love the story.
And it's not offensive. I wouldn't be offended.
And the label is simple and beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
I like it.
Sip it. Are you going to sip it or are you going to spill it?
I'm sipping.
Sipping. Okay, good. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Go buy my wine, people.
We're putting them back together now.
Just kidding. There's no affiliation.
And now we're going to fan these out. And you're just going to pick 3 cards. Keep them face down.
Whew. Oh my God, that's a big commitment.
Mm-hmm. Whichever ones you want.
Well, you already know my trouble with commitment.
I know.
I gotta commit to only 3 cards, and there's like 100?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's wherever you get drawn to.
All right, I need a lorazepam. All right, let's do this one.
Okay. Let's pull that one out.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's do this one. So, you all have heard me talk about Real Good Foods before. If you follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, you definitely should, you'll have seen Milo devouring the Real Good Foods pizza. Well, my favorite frozen food company is now launching ice cream. Real good ice cream. No icy or chalky texture like other light ice creams. It's made with fresh milk and cream, giving it that smooth, creamy goodness we all love. On a sweet note, there's only 4 grams of sugar. The new Real Good ice creams are sweetened with allulose, a naturally occurring sweetener found in things like figs and dates. This rare sugar has 1/10 of the calories of typical cane sugars, leaving this guilt-free frozen treat with a low 180 calories per serving. You can find this Real Good ice cream online at Real Good Foods and Vitamin Shop. Oh, God. What if I made the wrong choice? I could never go on, like, The Bachelorette.
Well, let's do the big reveal.
Okay.
Oh, my God. We have your past, which is the world.
Well, I've seen it.
And we have your present, which is King of Pinnacles.
Okay.
And we have your future, which is Queen of Pentacles. So.
Okay, tell me more.
Okay. Now we're going to start. And I've probably read through this book less than 200 times more than 100. And so it's not.
So a lot.
A lot. But I mean, you got to consider like over a 20-year period, right?
Okay.
There's no like I sat down and read it 100 times. You know, it's more like just familiarity with it and with its text and with what it's bringing forward and with what it's bringing out.
I love that we had a chit-chatty, dive in deep kind of podcast before this, because any new listeners out there kind of get a grasp of who I am, who you are.
I like tarot because tarot has always provided me an outlet of communication that takes into consideration maybe not just the dimension that we're in right now where we're talking, but other dimensions and other energies that sometimes it's not the language that we use in everyday conversation.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we don't stand back and appreciate the energies that are around, even if we would consider them negative. If we have no name for them, then they have no definition. And sometimes then we're unable to give ourselves even the right credit for where we've been, who we are now, and where we're going.
See, I feel like I'm really sensitive to energy. Even so, when I was in the townhouse, both of the boys separately, without either one of them being there, told me on 2 different occasions that they just felt a heaviness. That there was something a little off, made them a little uncomfortable. The other one wasn't around when one of them said this to me, so it was kind of, I was like, okay, like I can, you know, like I feel like this is like a vulnerable moment, you know, like I'm going to take it pretty serious. But when I first moved in there, energies were so high, but it was very quick to me that there was something off. And I'm not saying like I joked around with them and I'm like, oh, well, you're probably feeling that because there's a ghost. Ooh. But like, I don't think there was a presence there. I think there is a negative energy around that whole area. And I think it was the proximity to a structure that was there. And because there were times where I would look out of my bathroom window after taking a shower and I would be in this quiet, dark, vulnerable time where Milo was asleep, it was nighttime, and I would look out the bathroom window and I would get chills and like the hairs would stand up on my body and I'm like, okay, there's something
off. I don't know what it is, but something
right
off. Yeah.
I don't think it's a demon or whatever. I joked with them and said like, oh, it's totally haunted, you better be careful. But like but like there was an energy that was just off, and I feel like I'm just really sensitive to stuff like that.
And I think that has to do with your birth sign.
Ooh, well, let's dive more into that after this quick break. Warmer weather is just around the corner, so make sure to stock up on all your shorts, tees, and tanks from Zaya Active. Zaya has something for the whole family, with the always popular and growing men's collection, and even new kids and junior sizes. As always, you'll find your favorite premium leggings, with new items being made from recycled water bottles. I just picked up the purple bomber bra, and it is so soft, and I swear the quality might even be better than the original. Shop the Mommy Wines podcast event on myzaya.com/Emma for your order number to be automatically entered into a spring raffle. For your chance to win, head over to myzaya.com/Emma today.
Okay, so what I like to do here is I like to take a picture of the reading as it lies.
Do it.
And then as we read these things, and then I'll just text them to you after we're done. So this first card relates to, we're going to call this past, this one's present, and this one's future. Okay, so the past is 21, is the number of the card, and that can come into significance later, depending on how many levels of deep we want to go on this. But it's titled The World, and so it's a major arcana card. It's not part of like back here when you get into the minor arcantas, you've got like the wands and the pentacles, but before you get into the minor arcantas, the major arcantas are like archetypes that are throughout the whole world, and every single tarot is going to have these types of cards, right? In the major arcana before it goes into the minor arcana. It's just the way that it's interpreted will be a little bit different. So this one is the world, and the dream, which is how they have this divided, the dream. The copper statue of a woman has come to life and is dancing, looking back at a leaf she holds outside of her outstretched hands. Just as the earth, divine mother of us all, evolved from the stars and materialized into reality, so have our bodies been created out of, so have our bodies been created out of her naked body so that we may dance the dance of life, just as she dances through the cosmos. The statue's copper body has been dug from the earth as raw ore, refined by processes discovered by human intelligence and animated by an electrical spark that animates all life. She looks back at the leaf, a smaller version of the large leaf at her feet from which she has just emerged, to remind herself that she, like all of us, is a product and a process of the natural world. She dances before a huge image of the earth suspended by flower petals over a columned temple, just as we all must assume our place in relationship to the sacred temple that is the earth before our bodies return to her in an ever-turning cycle. This dreamlike journey is one of going within and finding our essential harmony with all there is. We will attain the knowledge of who we really are when we gain the world. The awakening. By uniting and balancing your long-sought inner harmony with the skills that you have learned in life, you have achieved real success. The world can be yours in this situation. Hard work is demanded to attain this, but material rewards and inner peace are promised. You must view your life in the context of the whole of life itself before you have the knowledge that you seek. The enchantment. And these cards, I guess I should have warned you before, give you tasks.
Ooh.
So here's your task.
My homework.
Your homework. Form a circle with a group of friends and hold hands. Slowly move in a clockwise direction, dancing and swaying to this chant. Winter, spring, summer, fall, the world is dancing. Dance for all. Complete the circle 21 times. Close your eyes, visualize the earth in the center of your circle, bathed in a white light, receiving love and healing energy from your group. Know that we all are blessed with the sacred duty of being the caretakers of our Mother Earth. So,
okay.
So that
well,
one...
thanks for the hardest homework ever. I'm going to have to find, 21 people?
No, you just have to go around
times?
21 times. You can find one person. You can dance with your imaginary friend if you want to. I like this card, and I like it for you for several reasons. One, you have dug yourself out of a place from the earth, and you declared yourself to be a raw and rare, precious metal.
See, I want to hear,
You
I
also,
love that, but I also want to hear your side,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to share kind of what I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
when you were reading that.
Mm-hmm. So to me,
go ahead and continue.
I think that
share all the beautiful things you're going to say about me.
I think that too, it takes human intelligence to mine a precious metal out of the ground, and then to give it form and function. And it takes intelligence to do that. It doesn't, just because it's there and it has potentiality, until you imply the human intelligence to it, and the doing and the work and the craft and the skill and the dedication to have knowledge in a certain field, particularly a field that's not traditionally for females and isn't particularly welcoming to anybody above a clerk level, as particularly somebody that's going to come up with their own ideas.
Well, hello, I work in finance.
Right? See? And
talk about a male chauvinistic
exactly.
industry.
But those rules haven't applied to you thus far, in the sense that, A, you have a very strong sense of yourself. And you don't look at yourself as being from a lowly place or in a place of staying. You are mercurial, not only in your thoughts and in the way that you engage with yourself, but you're considering the whole world in the things that you're doing. You're not doing things on a small scale. You're not doing things in just a local community. You're able to project yourself to the world because your spirit, your ideals, your mind, your intellect is interchangeable with that. And the power that you have from that is incredibly immense. If you look at this card and you see all of these different layers, if this is the cosmos and this is the human that's connecting us to terra firma, look at where the institutions are in relation to this character, about knee level. So they're there.
Yeah, I noticed that. They're very low.
They're there. But do they contain this person? No. Is this person's spirit able to transcend to the cosmos and back and forth at will? Yes. Why? Because obviously the rules that are here don't apply to a person that's applying to all of this. And just because you've transcended the one leaf that you came from doesn't mean that you forget it. It's there. You can consider it. But you also have all of this new growth and this new life that's in front of you, that's leading you without fear, with almost like the generation of like how the planet is moving. You're moving in conjunction with that. So if that's the power that's underneath you, we're just going to hold that in our minds for a little bit, and we're going to move on here to King of Pentacles.
I feel like these are very powerful cards. The world, the whole world.
Yeah,
but the king, the queen.
But that's the energy that you brought.
These are very powerful.
They're very powerful. They're very powerful. And
I'm sure there are like some, squirrely cards I could have picked, but like these are like three very powerful to me cards. Like the king, he's a ruler. The queen, she's,
the queen.
She's the queen. Yeah,
And they all have
the
different
whole world.
The whole
that's
world.
Crazy.
But I do think that the power of individuality and identity that you have, if you acknowledge it in that scope, it's humbling.
Yeah.
It's deeply humbling. But not everyone has that kind of scope. Not everybody is like, oh, I think I'll move to Utah today. Because it can't, it can't, the unknowns hold no fear for you. And that's because this is your neighborhood.
Myself?
This world right here, that's your neighborhood, man. The whole thing. It's like, I've done that. Yeah, I'm doing this for that. Yeah, duh. And I think that some people aren't able to take in that kind of scope. Or maybe if even when they do have those types of energies moving with them, they're not moving it in a way that doesn't turn back on themselves, doesn't become self-destructive. Yeah. Right? Or they.
I know there were so many people when I told them in Ohio that I was moving to Utah. And they're like, oh my God, you can't move to Utah. That's so far away. And I'm like, it's 1,852 miles. It's fine.
I've already wrapped my head around that. I'll go 10 times more before I'm done.
It's not like 3,000 miles. And they look at me and they have this like blankness. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy.
Well, let's talk about the King of Pentacles. Here we go.
I'm very excited to see who this is because...
The Dream.
Okay.
In spite of his warrior dress and glittering royal crown, the King of Pentacles is a jovial son of the earth. He doesn't seek out the lords and ladies of his kingdom as his wife does, the queen, but prefers the farmers who till the soil and work hard for their living. He enjoys the animals too, as their unquestioning connection to nature is similar to the way that he would like to have his subjects be. He too has worked hard all of his life, and through steadfast and solid effort has won a great estate and much success. He now wishes to enjoy it and preserve it for his queen and their children. Big-hearted and energetic in practical matters, he has no use for intellectuals and makes no effort to understand esoteric ideas. His only scholarly skills to be found are in mathematics because he finds predictability and the accuracy of numbers to be eminently practical in his affairs. In other ways, he is slow to change and possesses little taste for social graces which are fairly raw. He is truly a rough diamond. The Awakening. With a keen self-discipline and solid sense of purpose, you will achieve success in your material affairs. Try to interact instinctively with all that you meet and do not be confused by wealth or station in life. Maintain your ties to the natural world because this will fortify you in your dealings. Be aware that the appearance of the King of Pentacles in this reading may mean that a person with his qualities will soon be appearing in your life. The Enchantment. Reward yourself by visiting either a botanical garden or a florist shop. Look around at the beautiful plants and flowers. Think about the faraway places from which they have traveled. Admire their diverse shapes and colors. Pick one out for yourself. If you can, purchase a small pine tree to plant somewhere, as it is an evergreen and represents everlasting life.
New year, new wine. And of course, I'm talking nakedwines.com. If you haven't tasted the delicious, independently crafted wines from boutique winemakers around the world, can you even call yourself a fellow wine mom? Debatable. But don't worry, I got you, girl. Use code MOMMYWINES50 or click the link in the show notes below to receive your first 6 bottles delivered right to your door for only $34.99. That's $34.99 for 6 bottles of wine delivered to your door with code MOMMYWINES50. You're welcome. Are you a coffee lover just like me? Sipping my morning Java is the only way I can keep up with my toddler and busy lifestyle. That's why I love Coffee Over Cardio. Coffee Over Cardio is a premium coffee company started by female entrepreneur Abby Scott. Whether you love a good flavored blend or a strong roast, Coffee Over Cardio is ideal for any jitterbug. They are also carb-free, keto-friendly, sugar-free, and gluten-free. So pretty much that means they're completely guilt-free. Try Coffee Over Cardio's most popular flavors today: French toast and new Doctor's Orders vanilla hazelnut. Yum! Make sure to use code 10EMADON to save at checkout. Once again, that's 10EMADON at coffeeovercardio.com.
So, we're going to hold that and we're going to move on to Queen of Pentacles.
That one was like so legit. There's so many things that like randomly stuck out to me that were like all over the place, from like my pregnancy to like today. Like that's like 3.5 years. Okay.
All right. So now we're going to go to the Queen. Hey, kitty.
Special appearance.
By Kitty.
By Kitty.
All right. The Queen of Pentacles, the dream. The Queen of Pentacles is enchanting with dark hair and olive skin. She is kind and calm and a practical woman as well as a beautiful one. Men are very attracted to her, for they know that behind her official exterior is a woman who is charitable and unafraid of hard work. She loves her husband and her family and is interested in all that they do. Fond of entertaining on a grand scale, she loves good food and opulent affairs, for she knows all the best people. She is a great patron of the arts and spends a good deal of time promoting gifted and inspired artists and musicians, as well as theatrical performances of all kinds. She also is interested in the land as well as material things, and she is careful about the details of all of her activities. While not possessed with a great intellect, she will share her good fortune with others if they are interesting and add something to her own status. The Awakening. Now is the time to be aware of the financial problems of others less fortunate and to nurture them, helping them to gain their own security in the material world. Your touch is healing, for the Empress communicates most directly with the Queen of Pentacles. This is a social time But be careful not to forget that there is another kind of life beyond the social whirl of parties and dinners. Be aware that the appearance of the Queen of Pentacles in a reading may mean that a person with her qualities will soon be appearing in your life. The enchantment. To attract and nurture and protect the riches in your life, prepare a comforting cup of clove tea. Feel the beauty of the miracle that is your body, of the earth of which you are a part, and know that you are secure. You are fertile, always able to create love and good fortune. And as you sip the tea, remember someone with whom you can share these riches. So,
Okay. Are you my queen? Should I bow down to you?
I'll never give up the queen status ever. I do think this. I think that definitely the King of Pentacles, especially with the love for mathematics and the comfort that figures give you, and how that's your chosen profession, is making a story out of numbers, right? I feel that the energies that are brought about in this, I mean, it's very clear that the skills that you've developed are going to bring you the financial stability that you've sought and wanted. And to the point that there's almost a caution of like, I know everything's cool for you, but remember, like, you have the skills to benefit the whole world. You have the skills to benefit people that are less fortunate than you, to be a great patron and supporter of cultivating beauty, which is very important to you. And maintaining your own sense of self in the middle of that. It doesn't say that she's selfless or that she's lost her mind or that her priorities are out of whack. It's like, nope, you pretty much created yourself from the elements of the earth, called yourself into being, gave yourself form and function, moved from one geometric plane to another, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and now you're being called into taking that stability in the future of being an actual patron and a cultivator of those things.
That's so crazy.
So let's do something super nuts. Now we're going to level up.
Uh-oh.
You ready?
Do I get 3 more wishes?
You get 3 more. Right? Well, what we're going to do is so that you can see, because these are fresh in your mind, I'm going to pull the same cards out of this deck, and then we're gonna read the I like to call this deck the higher law. So now we're going to compare and contrast these 3 cards where we started with the Enchanted Tarot. Now we're moving to what is called the Starman Tarot. And the Starman Tarot is intense and intense.
Oh, God.
So
okay, I was going to not drink more wine. Okay, do you need more wine?
Let's see.
I've never drank warm rosé before, but
Hey.
there's a first time for everything. Don't even act like that's too much. You live here.
I know.
You don't have to go anywhere.
So here we go. The World. And by the way, this card is an 11.
That's a very different image.
Very different. And this one is, here's your second calling.
Oh, God.
Okay, we ready?
It's very heavy.
Okay. The World. Universe, I am your beloved conduit for the radiance and grace of life. We meet the piercing gaze of the earth Shamaka warrioress, standing resolute, fully present. She rises out of the ground, embodying the immense force of Mother Nature. A wise ancient being, the magic of alchemy, of sacred earth mystery, are woven into her crafted armor, worn with the powerful elegance. Around her is the skeleton of industry, a former factory now transformed by nature into some great cathedral or temple. The world is her church. The twisted branches reaching into space represent the ancient Bristol cone pines, the oldest colonial organisms on Earth. Recent research in forests suggests that the biggest and therefore the oldest trees, now known as mother trees, have vast mycorrhizal networks of fungi below the ground that support young trees or seedlings, preferentially ferrying them into the nutrients that they need to grow. The ancient mother tree is the recurrent theme or motif of the Starman Tarot, delivering the energy of the miraculous tree, ancient, rooted in the wild earth, having lived through so many epochs, after ever present witnesses to the stream of life that has come and gone. It reminds us to respect and honor nature that is so formidably strong, for her presence will prevail no matter what we think or say about saving the planet. Mother Nature always decides and stands as Shamaka, unapologetic in displaying her defenses. Although considerably advanced in years, she remains vital and potent, provocatively sensual, and fecund. She exhibits her fertility and handles and handfuls of grain and the cocoa pods that lay at her feet, her sacred food of the gods that originated in South America many thousands of years ago. There are some of those most complex and nutritiously dense foods that are still in existence today. She gives us with her abundance freely and offers us one of her greatest treasures of all, the royal medal, the gold ingot, fashioned into the astonishing artifacts for millennia. Gold was above all sacred to the sun deities, kept in trust by the priesthood, and used in ceremony and ritual to maintain the balance and the harmony of nature. In return, there is an offering of the sacred medicine plant, tobacco, whose smoke carries thoughts, feelings, and prayers to Mother Earth, Shamaka, and the creator of the world. The world is highly auspicious and invites success in any endeavor if you walk the path of integrity, and if your work and projects in the service of humanity and of the earth come to fruition, it is because of the power of earth. You are finally mastering life and are literally taking the world by storm. As a clear vessel and channel, unfazed by the tumultuous changes and cycles of life, you tenderly and expertly balance these compelling natures and energies with the earth. With water and with fire and with air, the elements are experienced as marvelous instruments that can be played together to make exquisite music and harmony which resounds through the universe. It is time to gather your tribe and be a force for good. The reversed version of this card, if we were doing a full reading and it came out reversed, there is a reverse thing.
Like upside down?
Mm-hmm. Deserved success is short-lived, tainted, for there is much to do and bigger mountains to climb. There is a disconnect from the world and the life-giving, sustaining force of nature. Yours is not in reverse. You are the universe. I am your beloved conduit for the radiance and grace of life. You can see when you hold this card, there is a hell of a lot going on there.
Yeah. And I kind of felt that with this.
Yeah.
And like there's a lot of different patterns and just stuff going on.
Sure.
So, do you want to hear like my version?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's completely a novice to this.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have always had multiple different versions, and people think of different versions of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with the original card, there's all these different patterns, different, like, I always had to perform in a way where people viewed me differently than I would somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all these different patterns, and I feel that. Also, there is the 3-columned building, which could stand for religion, society,
banking institutions,
finance, like that's something that I've always kind of pushed. If you look at this person,
pushing away,
pushing against, is I'm always pushing against the rules. Like I want to define a new road. And it's something I've always wanted to do. It's something I've always done. It's always something I've strived to do. and this image of this woman holding the world, and she's like totally pushing it away, defining a new road, like really struck with me. This one is a lot more intense.
I told you it was intense.
Like, it is, like, I just like touch it and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. And this one, have you noticed, she's not pushing it away. She is.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this.
So she's like holding it up, like kind of stabilizing.
Like, oh no,
she's
here.
Stabilizing. Mm-hmm. She's like, okay, I'm going to be the support.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be the essence of life, you know, like this is what I'm going to do. But this one seems so much more like powerful mm-hmm. and like ancient. Vigorous. Mm-hmm.
Active.
Yes.
The institution is there, but the institution is actually pushing away from her.
Yeah. And I feel that hardcore. The fact that there's a typewriter here.
Do you love that?
And I started out as a blogger. I've always been a creative writer. Like, that's one of the things. The fact that there's a skeleton mm-hmm. on her, like, lady bits. Mm-hmm. I was told I was never going to have children. Mm-hmm. I was never going to have children. I had to find another way. And I didn't. Right. I randomly slept with some loser from Southern Utah and I got knocked up. Like, that's how the Mommy Wines podcast worked out.
Right.
And it's so crazy to me, and it's something I think about every single day. Because, like, I was going to marry an incredible man who's now an incredible husband, and he's an incredible father to someone else. But the reason we didn't get married is because I couldn't have kids. Mm. And I was in a couple other long-term relationships that ended because I couldn't have kids. And then I find some loser in bumfuck Egypt.
And it doesn't matter if you have sex with him because you can't have kids.
I can't have I'm like, I might as... Okay, I'm 25 years old. Everyone's being slutty. Mm-hmm. I might as well have one drunken night of sluttiness. Mm-hmm. You know, like, have a good time. It wasn't even that great.
But you got a baby?
I got a baby. And then he all of a sudden became, you know, Mr. Leo. He's...
a lazy Leo.
Oh, yeah. He's lazy in all aspects that don't involve him making money. But which is what I thought was funny.
That's also a death of an old idea.
Yeah. I think becoming a mother kind of changed the way I think.
Oh, sure.
And a lot of the things that I wanted to do, sure, I wanted to make money to support my life, mm-hmm. you know, do whatever. I wanted to prove myself as a woman outside of being a mother.
Sure. But
since becoming a mother, I've really expanded on that. Mm-hmm. I've expanded on the fact that you can be a mom, but that's not the only thing you have to do with your life. You can do so many more things. And this month, actually, I'm launching my home bookkeeper course mm-hmm. where I'm going to be teaching other women and maybe other fellas, mm-hmm. you know, I'm not discriminating here.
Right.
How to do what I do and how to have that flexibility and that freedom and have a professional career that's not just another MLM or,
right.
you know, a business that's eventually going to fail. I want them to build a professional book of business in an industry that has so much flexibility. Mm-hmm. It's just not catered to women mm-hmm. because it's a male-driven industry.
Sure.
And I don't know. I have so much passion about finance and numbers and
here's this goddess of the world, and of all the things that could be at her feet, here's a typewriter.
I
mean, that's...
And a fucking snake.
I know.
Like, who is more of a snake than a man in finance?
I'm telling you, you can't have one. And I love that she is a conduit. She's a conduit. It's moving through her.
I'm going to be sharing...
I love it.
...this journey with so many other women. Strong. You have to be strong.
So you can see the difference
motivated.
Between these two cards.
This one seems more supportive.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like... more accepting.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I feel like, is stronger.
It's like, get out there and do it.
She's giving a lot of pushback. She's a bit more fearless.
Unapologetic.
Unapologetic.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the both of them cohabitating in my life. Are you a fellow mom looking to make a legitimate professional income around your lifestyle? If so, then I hope you consider enrolling in my new Home Bookkeeper Masterclass. This class has everything I personally used to build and scale my very own bookkeeping business from the comforts of home. Freelance is the future, and with today's cloud-based programs and technology, you have the ability to work whenever and wherever you wish. Included in the Home Bookkeeper Masterclass are all the insights on building, branding, and marketing your very own bookkeeping business, a pro advisor study guide to help you pass the optional and free QuickBooks Online certification exam, and a business resource guide full of all of my favorite products that I use at EDJ Consulting, plus a free gift just for you. To check out the Home Bookkeeper and enroll in the online masterclass, visit www.emmadon.com.
Okay.
So we're back to King of Pentacles.
And so that's your middle card. And we know from previous that the King of Pentacles in our Enchanted Tarot is somebody who really appreciates nature and the earth, and is very wealthy and is wealthy and well established because of his hard work and because of his appreciation of numbers and how they make sense. And he likes things to be orderly, and he's not a tyrant as a king. And we know...
I'm curious to find out who this person is. Because when I originally pulled this card, I had an idea. But after you read his, I guess, biography or vision, I was like, okay, well, sorry, buddy, but that's not you.
Well, and two, understand that this is an energy that's around your present right now, and so it can take many faces. It can you can see attributes of it where the King of Pentacles is showing up almost as a quality with different people in your life. You're like, oh,
okay,
King
thank
of
you for
Pentacles.
that, because I've had my son's dad, I've had my ex, and I've very recently started being like, okay, well, maybe I can date. But it's 2020.
Right.
How do you date nowadays? Okay, I joined an app that I downloaded on my phone in 20 seconds.
Right.
And, there's a flood of people, and there's maybe this person has one of the attributes I like, but the rest of them are awful. Like, they wear flat-billed hats. Like, what are you thinking? You're 30 years old.
Yeah. It's time for you to get out of the jersey and the...
Yeah, that's not okay.
We don't need to go to Tops to figure out what we're wearing today, please. Let's move along.
Thank you for agreeing with me.
Thank you.
It's just not my thing. Or, they like rock climbing, and they're madly in love with the state of Utah. And I'm like, you go, girl.
You go for it.
You go. However, I'm not going to climb any rocks or, gracefully or non-gracefully fall down any mountains for you. It's just not my thing. I just want to drink wine and watch The Bachelor at home.
There you go.
Let me be. So...
It'd be interesting to see the difference.
I am seeing these different things.
Okay, so King of Pentacles, I have mastered the art of success. The King of Pentacles has command of immense wealth and luxury for all to see, but he is not the typical empire builder. There are no glittering palaces and great monuments erected in his name. Rather, he seeks to transmit a love of life, of nature, and its wild majesty. So he employs his resources to enable future generations to take pleasure in it. The gold nuggets and golden symbols surrounding him show the riches gained when difficulties are overcome and diligence and fortitude required to recover from the setbacks and conquer. He understands the more that you prune back a tree, removing disease and broken branches, thinning the crown, and increasing the airflow by allowing one dominant branch to grow, it enables the tree to create a strong, resilient structure capable of weathering the storms of life. His love of trees and the natural materials combined with strong, refined aesthetics is experienced in his home in an eclectic showcase for the very best in local craftsmanship. It appears well designed, bright, comfortable, lavish, and steeped in history. As an avid collector of art and antiques, he appreciates the workmanship, knowledge, and skills passed down from father to son through the ages. His beloved throne from ancient Persia is carved from the stone bowl of Persepolis and expresses his strength. Underneath the flamboyant Frank Zappa exterior lies a strong, powerful, hard-working King Dynamo. He says that he's paid a heavy price for success, a workaholic. He was often absent in his children's formative years. Nonetheless, he has always provided a stable and loving home. His children have received an excellent, if unconventional, education centered around the home. These lessons focused on the importance of nutrition and keeping the body active while attending to the balance and beauty of one's immediate environment. Nurturing both the physical body and the body of the earth, he knows insecurity comes from the fear of collapse, the collapse of a situation, of a business, of a relationship in your life. But he's also fond of saying money doesn't grow on trees and has endeavored to teach the value of responsibility while really caring for things rather than treating them as disposable or replaceable. All resources are precious, generous with both his time and money. In these mature years, he's keen for his children to follow in his footsteps. He also mentors young creatives and entrepreneurs eager for success, encouraging them to have a clear vision and a coherent strategy for their long-term goal. Think success, act success, keep that vision grounded and alive, consistently working hard, persistently moving forward every single day, no matter what. The King of Pentacles, the earthy part of earth, stable and tenacious, sometimes a workaholic, a refined aesthetic, committed to the path that you are on, respect the value the items in your charge. The reverse of this, or if you're living the negative part of this energy, is feeling trapped and unable to see a way out. Mm-hmm. Revisit your foundations, nourish and support your values. And so you can see that he's a little more worldly king than this more provincial kind of king. But they both come into play where they're saying, I'm a king. I could do whatever the hell I want. But the things that they really value come from the earth, from nature, from growing something that's going to support what he loves and what he sees in the future. And very much you taking the energy of the world and kind of like this vast meaning that we've explored there and applying it into where you're the king of your own household. You aren't married. And you don't need to walk around, even though being a Libra, being in a partnership is your natural state of being.
Yeah, I do feel a little bit of an emptiness not being in a partnership. Mm-hmm. Are you fireballing without me?
I am. Fireball. But I think that...
Okay, well, I'm not that tough.
I think that there's a time and a season, and I can say this very directly because, I was single with multiple children for 14 years. It's not that I didn't have an opportunity to date. I just would look at this person and think, you couldn't handle my life, my real life.
Yeah.
For 11 minutes. Can I get dressed up and wow you for a dinner and whatever? Right, but like the pace that I move at, the hours I actually sleep, which are none, and the amount of work that I do, I knew it was a time and a season that I was moving through. I felt like because I was in a transition, and I would say this to myself.
I love that we're both Libras because you can give me so much advice and worldly view on things that I'm currently going through because you had that experience and you've lived it through who you are.
And we, you know, as Libras, we come with, because we are an object that truly, and we are the only object.
Baggage.
We are the only object in the zodiac. Everybody else is a plant, an animal, a human. You know, they have human attributes. We are the only object. We're made of solid gold. We can be melted into any shape via heat and fire. And we are also the element of air. And the element of air is, you know, it's a nice breeze on a hot day on one hand. On the other hand, if you've ever been in a natural disaster that involves wind, you know the power. When wind comes down and says, I'm doing this, there's nothing you can do about it. And so it's a malleable shape, and it's a way that you can move through the world almost as a chameleon without being like you're not putting parts of yourself away, because when you walk into a room, you change.
Yeah, like that's how I told you. I was trying to explain to her how I felt, and the only thing I could think of was that I was a phoenix in so many aspects of my life, but I'm this also chameleon that I can adapt to any kind of atmosphere. And
but don't you think that has to do with the fact that when you're intuitive, being a Libra, again, you're a set of scales, so one granule to the left or the right. Somebody else may not feel that. They may not feel a pound difference one way or the other.
Oh, I've known those people.
But when you walk into a room, you intuitively take in, oh, I'm going to need to keep this to a 3-word answer. And I'm going to need to email you and cover my ass on every single thing. And none of that's exchanged verbally. You just note that.
I note that, but I don't do that.
I know.
Like, I'm just so much a person who's in tune with myself and who's a part of her truth, and I'm gonna live it. And this is my one life. Like, I'm not gonna get another chance, you know? Like, I'm gonna feel the way I feel, and I'm gonna believe the way I believe, and I'm gonna learn the things I learn, and I want you to teach me. But I'm not gonna hold back. And I feel like that's why some people, when they talk to me, they're like, oh, well, you were born on the 6th and not the 20th? Like, maybe you're a little bit Virgo.
Well, you are a Libra 1, and you are influenced by Virgo in the sense that you are very good at seeing the structure. But unlike a Virgo, you see the structure and understand it to the point that you're able to use it like monkey bars.
Yeah.
That's why you're able to create a mortgage program that a bank is actively using. The structure,
like,
that they have
know how this works.
Right.
I
You know
the way
it
you
so
think.
well that you can just craft it and be like, yes, 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 no, no, no. And then, boom, here's the puzzle piece.
And the thing about it is that I've kind of dimmed that version of myself until I had my son. And I've dimmed it because I was like, okay, well, I'm a great insurance agent. I can sell all the insurance in the world. I can sell ice to an Eskimo. I'm fine. I don't need anything else. But then I had my son, my whole world changed. I went from, you're not going to be able to have kids, to
by the way,
now I have to leave this legacy to this infant baby child who's the cutest thing in the whole entire world.
He is the cutest thing.
Oh my God, he's so fucking cute. It's disgusting how cute he is.
He is, darling.
Oh my God. But then I'm going to have to live this life of, I want him to be proud of me. And I've never had this idea of a family in my head. It's always been me and him. It's always, from the second he existed until the time he was born, until yesterday, it was always me and him against the whole world. But I don't want it to be me and him against the world. I want us to do good. I want us to leave a legacy. And it's not just to him. And I've learned throughout my financial education and career, oh, leave a legacy, leave a legacy. Okay, yeah, that's great. You know, if you're not a jackass, you know, maybe leave a little bit of money to your kids, not just donate everything to McDonald's. But, you know, it's more than that. It's maybe do things better, do things with a little bit more integrity, do things smarter, work smarter, not harder. Like, it's just little things, and I don't know, it just drives me nuts.
But I think that's why this is your present, because these are the exact elements that you're dealing with in your own identity right now.
Well, there's his dad, who is like, you should just be happy being a wife and a mother. And he was going to give me that security of I didn't have to work. I didn't have to think. I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, but what are you going to be like if you're not thinking and you're not doing?
Okay, I've been thinking. I moved out when I was 16. I've been thinking for a long time. Honestly, my brain is tired. But I can't imagine a life or a being. Like, I don't know what would happen to my, like, being of a human being if I just woke up and went through the entire day thoughtless.
Yeah.
If I just relied on someone else. If I just lived a life that was completely catered by someone else. It'd be like living a wedding day every single day. And how stressful are brides on their wedding day?
It's why you see the Stepford situation.
It's why they do it once. They do it once because it's friggin' horror. Hell, I haven't even done it once, and I'm like, oh God.
Okay, so let's move on to the Queen experience.
All right, let's
this
see
one
what
you're gonna have to pick this one up because there's a lot to take in on this one.
You think? Do you want me to turn it a certain way?
Oh no, just check out the graphics. Go for it. No, here, just look at the picture.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I told you. There's a lot.
We can cuss on this podcast. It's fine.
So this is the Queen of Pentacles. I love and nurture this great land of ours. The Queen of Pentacles is the ultimate Earth Mother, the great healer. As the mistress of nature, she is the great protector, nourisher, and sustainer of wildlife and their ecosystems. Her passionate connection to the miracle of life in all of its forms has given her knowledge and a bountiful matrix. Everything is indeed connected to everything else, powered by the sun. She is the channeler of the Vedas, the life catalyst. The signifier here is the fusioned energy streaming from her hand, shooting into life, into the seed pod, which releases the strand of DNA into the world.
Do I see it?
Utterly sensitive, sensual, and receptive, she is the abundant channel in this Garden of Eden, the small armadillo that wears its armor on its back, symbolic of protection. The armor is physical and a spiritual shield which guards its safety, indicating not only the need to protect the heart when the occasion calls, but reminding us humbly of how we are in the schemes of life. This creature typically lives in a subterranean den.
A suburb of my life.
And further prompts us to remember that life is the great womb and tomb of all life. We are all part of Mother Earth, the indivisible living community of interconnected systems. Evidence of exploitation and contamination to the land over the years has led to corrosive deterioration and destruction, threatening the diversity of life, including our own. If we were to boldly proclaim, as a universal declaration of rights, announcing the earth is Gaia, a living entity with the right to exist, persist, and maintain its regenerate and its vital cycles, then we might not be the catalyst of the life force from our seed pod with our hands. Somehow I missed the question there. Sorry. The living entity with the right to exist, persist, and maintain its regenerative vital cycles. Then we might not be catalyzing the life force from the seed pod with our own hands. We need legal powers to prevent misguided interests from treating this earth as merely property to be sold to the highest bidder. Might it protect the gift of fresh water, of clean air, less than 3% of all water sources, and even more miraculously fragile, less than 0.1% or 0.01% of the surface of the water found in lakes, swamps, streams, and rivers are protected by any of these legal documents. The armadillo's uncanny ability to walk underwater, to survive torrential flooding by inflating its body so it floats, reflects the way we ourselves might navigate the watery realm of emotions and surrender in its torrents. The Queen is certainly moved to take action. Despite her considerable wealth and status, she is conscious of its precious opportunities and resources. She can access them in her daily life. She doesn't take them for granted for 1 minute. Aware of her afforded privileges that many in the developing world do not have, she realizes that wealth for all can only happen when we engage in our collective political and social will to distribute it fairly. You are being invited to connect with the natural abundance of nature that is your birthright and channel it beautifully to become the catalyst of life. The Queen of Pentacles, the watery part of the earth. Nurturing yourself and environment around you, be open to the needs of others, distribute the wealth that you have equally among others, channel your gifts to create new life. The reversed or dark side of this energy is disconnecting from what stabilizes you, feeling sick or lack of energy, overworking yourself, and ignoring relationships. Mm-hmm. So you can see the difference in the intensity. This one is a calling and a charge. This one is a suggestion of almost like a sponsorship.
Yeah. This one is like, you should be this, despite the fact that you are this. Mm-hmm. And for me, I look at this image and I see power and strength. But I also see a pumpkin. Mm-hmm. My birthday's in October. Mm-hmm. I also see DNA, mm-hmm. which
is part of you talking about perpetuating something for the future.
Yes. And that's kind of been the foundation of not only my home bookkeeping course, that's launching this month, but also, I don't want you to only work from home. I want you to build from home. Mm-hmm. It's not just a couple blocks or a couple sticks or a couple pieces of 2x4 or some cement, mm-hmm. That builds your home. It's so much more than that. It's labor. It's love.
Well, it's the spirit of the home. Because you can have all of those things, but if the spirit inside of it isn't supporting life and all that.
Mm-hmm. Like you can spread so much of yourself. Like what I've learned, especially through this podcast, because I do donate the majority of my earnings of this podcast mm-hmm. to women and children organizations around the world. I feel like you're not so as stationary as you feel like you are.
No.
Like when I was in Elko and I had my son and I was just a mom, and I say that, I was just a mom. So many people feel like they are just something. They're just a mom. They're just the leader of their playgroup. They're just on the PTA. They don't have any real meaning. Well, and I felt that. And mm-hmm. when you say just, it justifies the fact that you don't feel that you are worthy.
Right.
And I am so for breaking all of those walls and those boundaries. And you can be a mom. I love being a mom. So many of my businesses so far that I've started, which are crazy, mm-hmm. have come from being a mom. Like, I didn't think I could do that, but I did. And I started my blog, and I started my podcast. And of course, he's probably going to be a spoiled brat, and he's probably going to grow up, and he's going to turn 18, and he's going to get a check, and he's going to be like, fuck y'all, peace. You know, he's going to go to Hawaii for a few weeks. You know, whatever. I hope I don't raise an asshole, but, you know, half of his DNA is an asshole. So I can only determine, you know, what happens. But I feel like there's so much more happening.
Mm-hmm. I think if you're looking at the energies, though, that like when we're talking about just your past, just your present, just your future.
I really thought this was Milo's dad.
Mm-hmm. Which I think
because
that
he's so obsessed with money. He's so obsessed with making it in the world, and he's so obsessed with having a status.
Isn't it funny to find out, though, that the King of Pentacles is actually not obsessed with money?
Yeah. I'm like, who the hell could that be?
Yeah.
Like, if I was going to have anybody be, like, the king of my world, like, it would obviously be somebody who's obsessed with numbers, right?
Right. But he's obsessed with numbers and what they can do, not the money.
He uses money for evil.
Oh, no, he uses money for good, for his people.
Well, maybe if it was Mike. Okay, Michael uses money for evil.
The person you thought
had
these attributes.
I'm like, now I'm curious of, like, who this person could be. Mm-hmm. Like, who's this person who could be like, oh, yeah, like, I came up with this, or I did this,
I think
or
it's
whatever.
you. I think it's you taking this energy, and I think it's you
I'm not that cool.
taking on the masculine side, and instead of acting as though you have a lack, because you've been looking for a king, and I think once you assume your own kingdom, I think that's the time when you become a good partner.
See, wow. That's really, I could take that into consideration.
Mm-hmm. Because I think that for both sides of you, being a Libra, there's a very strong masculine and a very strong feminine side.
Yeah.
And there's times and seasons in our lives where we have to kind of put on our Amazon armor. And we have to go through this time and season where when we know that we can do it ourselves completely, and we stop looking for that part that we're missing, that's when we are actually functioning as a whole person. And then when we meet another whole person, now you're moving at the speed of your partnership, because he's willing, you're equally yoked. You're not limping from your past wounds and your past wants and your past desires and your past needs. You're functioning as a whole king, a whole kingdom.
I feel like that's going to happen soon, though. Because, like,
as soon as you move into that and you go to reach for it, that's what's there. Because then you're moving into your future, which you know is assured as a queen. And we talk about her partnerships here.
Ooh, I want to be a queen.
And the queen part, but the queen is only able to be a queen because she's got this guy, holding the reins.
Right.
And if you've got this part handled in your own life, it gives space then for these energies to flow through.
See, I feel like they should all be supporting of each other.
But they are. Because they're a triangle, and there's nothing stronger in geometry than what? The 3. So it's sacred geometry.
I'm very surprised that I picked these cards.
You picked
Are you surprised?
No.
Really?
No.
Because I'm like, wow, like I'm a tough ass bitch.
No, you are. Because you have what? Taking yourself from the earth and left old patterns to move into inheriting this part of the world.
I feel like this is strong. Like, this is stronger than this.
But you had to be this before you could be this.
Right.
So this is like the transcended version of this.
Yeah.
And that's why I like working with both.
Because I feel like this is like religion, society, government.
Mm-hmm. And this person's transcended
and this is
that.
Holding the whole world, like learning.
At bay. Mm-hmm.
At bay.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is, I understand.
And
look at
these swords that are raised. They can't even touch them.
Right.
Even
it's
in sacred
insane.
Geometry. Can't even touch them.
I will write about what I want. Mm-hmm. I will experience what I want. Mm-hmm. I will love what I want. And it's just like this whole enlightened situation. And then this whole king comes in.
Where you think you're looking for a partner. But really you're looking for your own masculine side to complete yourself.
I feel like such a goddess. I'm like goddess AF right now.
I know.
I feel like I could take this shot and not even care.
Yeah, right? Until about
Until
you're
3
lifting
minutes
home
later.
in about 15 minutes, we'll be calling a lift. We'll be like, okay, and we'll come pick you up in the morning to get your car.
Okay. Let's end this podcast.
Let's do it. I think we did good.
I think we did so
I think
good.
anytime you ended up with reading 3 cards and a contrast and your goddess AF.
Yes. High five.
I like it.
Thank you for being my guest today.
You're welcome.
Are you a fan of the Mommy Wines podcast? Well, of course you are, or you wouldn't be hearing this right now. One of the best ways to support the show you love, besides obviously tuning in every Wine Wednesday for new episodes, is shopping the Mommy Wines merch store on teespring.com. This is where you'll find all of the Mommy Wines branded goodness, mugs to hold your coffee over cardio morning Java, iPhone and Samsung cases, premium ultra soft hoodies perfect for upcoming cooler months, and of course flowy tees and tanks flattering on every mommy out there. Go shop the Mommy Wines storefront on teespring.com and make sure to use code WINEMOM for free shipping. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Mommy Wines podcast. Make sure to leave a rating and review. To support the show you love, check out the exclusive branded merchandise on themommywines.com. For extra sassy, honest, and potentially controversial content, make sure to join me over on the Mommy Wines Patreon. Also, don't forget to check out the other shows on the MW Network. If you love scary stories and true crime, you'll love Tales After Dark. More shows are coming soon, so make sure to stay connected on social at Mommy Wines Podcast. And until next Wine Wednesday, mamas, parent and drink responsibly.